just really like connecting and just talking to people, getting advice from other people, being open to learn. That's the most like key point is being open to learn. A lot of people think they know it all and think they seen it all, but no matter how old you are and what you've done, like there's always more that you can learn. Even to this day, I learn a lot of things.
R&B podcast is in here. We got the lights on and the cameras. R&B podcast recording. Got a guest today. Listen to what we say. We got something for you today.
Yes.
Welcome back to R&B podcast, episode 42. What it do? Thank God for the opportunity to have another conversation with my boy Russ, of course. And we got a special guest. It's one of our boys. We go way back. And we ran track together. We ran football together. We were in high school together. We competed against each other in middle school. That deep. My boy George Wright. Round of applause. Yes.
Round of applause.
Sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on, G.
Yeah, you're walking up. Thank you for having
you.
me on.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
You know, you're from New York. What part of New York you're from?
Rochester, New York,
From
upstate.
Rochester, yeah.
So basically, that's the whole area where Buffalo is, Albany, Syracuse,
Nice.
right on the Lake Ontario area. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit different than New York, the city.
Yeah.
So whole different
And then
atmosphere.
how old were you when you moved here?
14.
You were 14,
in
yeah.
the 8th grade.
Yeah.
That's actually where where Blake's talking about where we competed together.
Yeah.
Fact, I remember because you came on the 8th grade basketball team and we was like, man, who's this new kid at a print day out here dunking
at
almost.
5'8".
Yeah, everybody thought I was a grown man.
Right, straight up. Because the mustache was almost similar back then, I swear. And then people would look at me and think I was like a grown man. And then new kid from New York, I was like, oh, all right. Then we ended up going to the same high school.
Yeah.
And we were running the backfield for Corona. I think we were one of the best duos in the state, to be honest. You know, the record didn't quite reflect it, but we were doing our thing. He was the speed guy. I was the power back, you know.
Yeah, man.
George was running like a, 10-2 in middle school?
Nah, I was running at 10.
You ran 10-2? I swear George ran 10-2, bro.
Nah.
But one of the fastest dudes I met, one of the strongest dudes I met, always been smart as well. And, you know, the background, the culture was always very interesting to me. You introduced me to reggae music and like the Jamaican vibe, and that was something that in my adulthood has been important, the one love and all that. So I don't know if you realize you had that kind of influence on me, but
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah. You influenced me in a lot of ways, and you always pushed me. That was one thing, you pushed me, because we would compete with each other. And it was like when it came down to it in the weight room, nobody was really touching us. You know? Shout out Jake Rydell. He was up there.
Nah, he's putting up
he
some
was up
weight,
there putting up some weight, but yeah, we were always the ones at the top of the charts, and there's always that healthy competition, right? And then you did track and football in college?
No. Well, yeah. I mean, I started off with a track scholarship to go to a community college down in Tucson.
Nice.
I was blessed with that opportunity. I didn't really put in the best efforts, and I was lucky to get at least that scholarship. And then, redshirted. Yeah, it wasn't really something I wanted to do. Tried football out. Redshirted on that. Didn't compete. So
So when it comes down to it, though, you know, when we were high school athletes, you had a good amount of success, and you know, you had some opportunities on the table. I feel like our coaching failed us in some areas as far as like the leadership and guidance that we might have needed in certain situations, you know, helping us get certain recruitment and things. But you were still getting looks because you were working hard, but there were some distractions along the way a little bit sometimes, right?
Yeah. Pretty much in high school, just I didn't really have the clearest head, and I had a lot of anger build up within myself. I can say I had a lot of self-hate in who I was, and coming from the environment where I was at in New York, I was still trying to transition from being on the East Coast to transitioning and being, I guess you can say Midwest, but really I feel like it's is the West Coast.
Yeah, we West Coast.
But it's similar, like just the personalities and how people are. I'm pretty sure you know. I'm pretty sure you have a very good understanding how the differences between people being probably, I say, culture appropriated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the things that they say, and I felt like there wasn't really much of an opportunity for each kid to be who they really wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from different backgrounds, you have to be that certain background that everyone thinks is acceptable in the school.
Mm-hmm.
I dealt with a lot of that, and me, it wasn't really something that made me really sad and made me kind of upset. And I kind of started to hang out with certain crowds of people that was more of my type of person.
Yeah.
So, and you get to certain type of people who are like more of my type of person, or people who are smoking, people who are drinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People who are going to parties. You know what I mean? They didn't really have a set goal for themselves in the future. It was all about partying and now. So that was the type of culture that I was in. And then just being in sports. And so I've been playing football since I was in the third grade. Second grade, I've been playing football. And I've always been fast. I've always been strong.
Known that.
There is something that everyone always seen in me.
Yeah.
Whenever I get on the football field, no matter what position I play, whatever, I always dealt with that pressure of feeling like I have to be somebody.
I feel you.
And I really did want to be somebody.
Yeah.
When it comes to sports, so, and then just like, really, it was like my senior year where I just fell off, just completely, just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to classes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When did you like gain the awareness that it could have been something like self-hate that you were feeling at that time?
Really before after I got out of prison.
Yeah.
And I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
Well, I just turned 22 years old, and I finally had an awakening and understood. You know what I mean? I did a lot of like bad shit to people. Did a lot of bad things to people. I didn't really have any. I didn't really was capable of. I wasn't capable of. It's hard for me to explain, but pretty much, because right now I'm lost in my words, but pretty much it's hard for me to explain that I wasn't able to see the things that I was doing to other people and how it affected them.
The empathy wasn't there.
Yeah.
And
it's all about me. It's all about like why do I have to be in pain? Why do I have to hurt? Why is my life going this way? And I always felt that other people, their life is going so smoothly. Fuck them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you realize like, nah, everybody is having problems
Yeah.
and everybody's dealing with their, whatever it is inside their mind. Yeah.
And you start to really so like there's a saying, it's about what are you doing now for the future. And I finally realized that like there's things that you do now in your life, especially if something bad happens. Only thing you can do, you can't really complain about what happened in the past or the situation, anything that happens in your past. You can't really complain about it. Oh, you don't have money. Oh, this and this happened to me. Really, you can just worry about what you're gonna do right now to change it, to set yourself up better in the future.
Right.
So that's one thing I believe, and I carry that with me.
Yeah.
I carry accountability with me, and I try to teach that to my kids too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know, like, for us, like, we're all black, brown kids, or young adults now. You know what I mean? We're going to have kids. We're going to be black and brown.
And I don't know if you've always been a leader, and you can say you fell into these wrong crowds, but I think even then, you might be hanging out with somebody that you felt more comfortable with, but did you ever recognize that you would kind of become the leader of this little groups, or people would be more gravitating towards you? Did you ever notice that?
I feel that way a lot, especially with like the younger community. A lot of them, they have looked up to me, and a lot of people still do look up to me. Probably back when I was younger, them looking up to me. I like to press good and positive things like working out, when I was younger and doing sports because that was my thing at the time, and that was my pass by. Like I loved doing it at the time for fun, but then I still had those same habits of let's go smoke some weed or let's go drink. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's go get some coke or whatever. Just things that doesn't help out anybody, and it sure wasn't helping myself out.
Yeah. What do you think would be maybe a couple good tips for a young athlete that has these eyes on them and the expectations and the potential, but they don't necessarily approve of themselves and they still feel that external pressure? Because I think when you're in that situation, it's very easy. Johnny Manziel, for instance, he was making a lot of bad decisions when all this pressure was on him. The whole world is looking at him and he's performing at a high level. And it's kind of similar, like you said, he was not happy with himself and what he was doing and his accomplishments. And it's so easy for everybody else to overlook that and still just expect you to go play football and like, oh, what's wrong? Like, how could you possibly think that your situation is bad, you know? So I want you to just give a couple of tips of, you know, in hindsight, what somebody in that situation might be able to remind themselves to know that, one, what they're doing is meaningful beyond the sport, and then two, along the lines of how they can work on themselves throughout that process, you know?
Yeah. I got two things. Like, first, just because you're good at football or just because you're good at basketball doesn't mean that's what you're meant to do. Like, we all have more than one skill.
Yeah.
We all don't know all our skills yet, but we all have more than one skill that we can do. And just because you're good at that one thing doesn't mean that was meant, that was what God or whoever was meant for you to do. So that's probably why, like, yeah, you're not happy playing football because, yeah, like I'm good at it.
Stepping stone.
Yeah, it's just something that could lead you to somewhere better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're making all this money, maybe you have other things that you really want to do because this is, you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun and it's opportunity, and there's all of these very evident plus sides that come along with being a football player and eventually being a professional athlete, but there's a lot that goes into it that may not be as desirable, and when it comes down to it, that journey can end overnight, and our lives can end overnight, right? So it's like when you're building on those skills and you're getting strong in the gym and you're playing a game, what is it going to be beyond that you're going to do it yourself?
Yeah.
Because that could be what makes you happy, but eventually it is gone, whether it's 20 years down the road or 2. And then you need to have some kind of idea of what's going to be happening after that, right?
That's why I feel like a lot of these guys, like, who are professional athletes or they're like football stars or whatever, like, they go back and they get back to the community. They teach Little League. They open up gyms. They give self-motivation to other kids who are in college because they feel like they probably have more to give back than just running a football up and down the field. And they're a little bit smarter than what most think because they probably did do 4 years at a university.
Right.
And got a degree in something.
Right.
So they do have more to offer. And then, like, second, like, it's hard to really explain. I feel like everyone just needs to have that point in their life where, and maybe it might take someone 6 months, a year, where you can sit down and you don't have any distractions around you and figure out who you really are. I know when, like, you're famous or popular, you want to fall into that popularity group and you want to be out, you want to be seen, you want to have the best clothes, you want to impress everybody around you. And, like, the more that I grew up, the more that, like, today is like the best I ever dressed today, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I really don't care anymore.
I feel you.
And I think that's where I'm at the happiest at my life, is where I do not care about what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
Only thing that I care about is going to work and making sure my kids have the best life.
Dad level.
And my wife has the best life. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I ain't never I haven't put on this chain in like 6 months.
Yeah.
It just be sick. I was like, man, I'm going to interview today, so I'm you know what I mean? I'm going to make sure I'm looking good.
You're preaching to the choir.
But I don't care. anymore. Like I haven't bought new clothes in like a year.
Right.
Like not even like a new pair of clothes at all in a year because I just really don't care.
Yeah. Let me ask you, George, because you're talking about how when you got the time after prison was a lot of self-awareness for you, and I'm wondering because you talk about this period of isolation that people can go through to kind of develop that deeper awareness and thoughts. What was it when you were in prison? Were you by yourself often?
Oh no, so when I went to prison, like I was on a 2-yard. So a 2-yard is like one of the lowest classifications you can be on there. I was there for credit card theft. That ain't a real criminal like that with these guys. So I was on a 2-yard, and like it's pretty much like imagine like a military camp, and they have bunkers and stuff, and you're able to walk around. Like there's like a 3-foot fence. You can easily hop it, but everyone there is doing either like a year or 2 years. So it's very low minimum security on that yard. But you're still locked into a whole facility, and the more that like you're going through all this stuff, like stripping naked to get checked, you're bending, like you literally have to turn around, bend over, squat, and show your booty hole and make sure you're not putting stuff up, bringing contraband into the facility. There's things where you have to be on a schedule, and waking up, you have to go do work for 5 cents an hour, and you're wearing these orange jumpsuits. It's, to me, it's kind of really embarrassing.
Yeah.
And like you just have that mentality, you have that like thought where it's like, okay, is this who I really am? The lifestyle, it was easy there. It wasn't hard, but you really you start seeing everything that you have to do, and it's like, it's embarrassing. You know what I mean? There's ladies that work in the prison too. You know what I mean? You have to do all those things. You know what I mean? You have to take a crap in front of everybody, because there's no closed stalls.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you got to take a crap in front of somebody. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine like, man, like you ate a whole bunch of stuff the night before, and your stomach
no
just
privacy.
hurt.
Like, the food's not great, right? Yeah.
No, the food was great.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, food's delicious. Yeah.
That's right. So you were never really like isolated. Did you ever have time to sit and think by yourself then?
Oh yeah, I have. Like when you're getting transported, they transport you and put you in like a 4-yard facility or whatever, and they don't really put you on an open yard, especially because I had to get transported to go back to court and stuff. And when they transport you to a different yard, because so the first yard I hit was all the way out in Nogales, and so pretty much, so I hit a 2-yard, right? And then I guess I had I violated my probation because I was in trouble for some other stuff or whatever. But it was just a probation violation. And then they upped my classification to a 3-yard. And within 3 weeks, a riot broke out on that yard. And I guess it was probably 2 deaths and a bunch of people injured.
Wow.
And that was the first time I've ever been in a situation like that.
Yeah.
And then there's already a bunch of transporting, and then they just went and took me to Pima County jail. So there's times where you're just sitting there for a while, and you're thinking, you know what I mean? Because because I was in there for 2 months, and you're really thinking, and that's one of the things where where when you're in there by yourself, there's moments where you start breaking down and crying. And you can't really believe that you put yourself in this situation. There's times where you don't have phone access, and you can't really call anybody, or the only person that you're able to talk to is your mom. You know what I mean? And you start feeling like when you put yourself in this situation, you really just have yourself at the end of the day. You can't really expect your mom or your girlfriend or your wife to do this journey with you, especially when you have a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so
I hear that. Yeah, I have a cousin right now that's going through the system and is having trouble staying out of trouble. And his perspective on it is different than yours. He hasn't served prison time yet, but he's been in jail more than once. And he doesn't seem afraid of going to prison. And that worries me, because he says jail's easy and it's not that bad, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. but what are you gonna do to stay out, right? Like, how are we gonna keep you on track? And one thing with you, I could see the difference after you did your time, like in your priorities and the things you were talking about. And I know that you changed for the better. Like I always wish that you would have learned a lesson without having to go through that, but I know that you made the most of it. And here you are with a beautiful family and working hard. And I think for me, it's like after seeing you change up in a positive way, it's like, how do we keep dudes like us from getting in these situations, right? Because, similar with my cousin, it's just like you get into situations where the easy route is there, but so many times the easy and the quick route isn't the good route, and that's not what's going to last, and that's not what's going to keep us safe, right? So for a dude that's on the kind of the edge of getting in a bad situation, how would you try to intervene and help him understand that there's still potential and he can get out of that?
Well, he already still has potential because once you go to prison, that number stays with you. So you're always gonna have a prison number, and it's always gonna be very easy for you to go back to prison once you get that number. They're not gonna play around with you, especially out here in Arizona.
Yeah.
So he's lucky that he's just in and out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
And then second is just, I don't know his situation, his home life, if his dad was around. I don't know if he has like older cousins.
Yeah, he
people
does.
that can.
He has some siblings. Parents were divorced.
Yeah, so that can be a big part of it.
Not having the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and it's not really about all the way up until 18. A lot of it is that like we're guys, and like I don't think we don't stop. I think we don't hit our like full maturity until we're above the age of 25.
Yeah.
At that day, we're still kids,
Mm-hmm.
and we still have that mentality of thinking that
Invincible.
this is all a game. Yeah, invincible. This is a game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna really get in serious trouble.
Yeah.
And then when you get slapped with that 10 years, 5 years, you know what I mean? That's when it's too late for yourself, and you just keep spiraling down into that depression and thinking that no one cares about you. And it's really is about just being there for your kids, your sons, most importantly, past the age of 18. That's how I really feel about it. Like fully being involved in your kid's life, especially when you're a father. Like my journey with my child ain't gonna stop until he's past the age 25. Like really putting in the work with him, having him understand like the things that it takes to be a man, buy a house, find the right job, knowing what career route you want to take before you even go into college. Like you know what I mean? Because a lot of people go in there and they don't know what they want to do.
Most.
Just really just be there with them all the way. I felt like that's what I didn't have. Once I turned 18, like my parents were kind of just like,
You're an adult.
yeah,
Figure it out.
and it's like I don't know anything about being an adult.
Right.
Yeah.
Half the time you guys hid everything from me. You never really gave me those discussions. You know how it is as black.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like black parents who were born in
They don't want to show the
1969
numbers.
and
yeah, the money's secret, and I'm working behind the scenes. Don't worry about it. Yeah,
they don't really
definitely.
teach you about credit cards. They don't teach you about owning a car. They don't teach you about the responsibility just to have this roof over your head. And it's like a lot of times it's not embarrassing. A lot of times it's just teaching your kids and showing them like this is all the things that we have to do just to keep this roof over our head.
Yeah.
Like these are the things that you need to prepare for like when you're older. And the fact that you know what's going on now, like there's potential for you to be better than us when you're ready to, you know what I mean? Because that's my goals for like my son Aiden and my son Preston. For the amount of money that I make, I want him to be able to make more money than I'm making.
Right.
Off the rip. And I already have those skills.
Right.
All the skills that I teach him, like I bought him a nice computer, and just really like last Christmas a nice computer because I work with computers every day. So my goal I have it on Roblox Create. So I want him to start coding.
Nice.
I have him on Excel. I want him to start learning Excel. Like, to him, like, he thinks it's boring, but it's really fun. But he still thinks it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
But I know those are the skills that's gonna really, like, help him when he's older.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants to get the job, whatever, and it's like, yeah, dude, you already have, like, all these crazy computer skills. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
For real.
you're already qualified, and Arizona's a right-to-work state.
Yep.
You don't really need a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of you don't really need a degree. Like, I was already doing project managing before I even got my degree.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And be honest, I still got like 2 more classes that I need to take. But I haven't really been doing it because I kind of dropped out, but not really.
You've been working.
Yeah, I'm already doing it.
You like learned the skill.
Yeah.
You learned what you needed, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna utilize it.
Yeah.
But I still want a transferable degree.
Right.
Just in case I go anywhere, I have the experience, but then also I have a degree too. So
yeah, extra leverage.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been chapters with lessons from moving out to Arizona, right, and then being an athlete, and then going through high school, the college time, and serving your time, and then starting a family. I'm in the beginning stages of that. You got some older kids than me. What did you learn from just being a dad that was like another step up from all of your other life experiences?
The biggest part being a father, and I guess it doesn't really matter what gender the kid is. Just being able to have that basically having that emotional, I want to say constraint, but emotional stability.
Yeah.
Being, because your kids, your kids are gonna say a lot.
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your kids are gonna say a lot of things to you, that you may think are hurtful, and you just have to backtrack and imagine what are the things that I said to my own parents. So like a story, pretty much like, so my son Aiden, so one of these days, I was having him clean up his room. And sometimes he tries to play games and just throw all his clothes in the drawer, all not folded up correctly. And like keep like meaningless trash in his room, and he has excuses. You know what I mean? He's a 10-year-old. He has excuses. So I went up there and I told him he needs to throw away his Prime bottles. He's trying to collect them. Apparently he thinks that the Prime bottles are collectibles. And he's like, no, my friends are saying that these bottles go for $1,000 each.
That's hilarious.
And I started doing a little research. Apparently he bought a Prime bottle from one of his friends, and I'm like, of course he's gonna tell you that. These are
he's selling you trash.
Yeah. They're like, I can go get one right now, but you can only get a case of. Okay, you got me. Like, so he was all upset about that, and upset that I made him refold his clothes correctly, and so he has an iPhone. Which that's one of my mistakes. Give him that iPhone.
Yeah.
So he has an iPhone, and he goes and texts his grandma. And he says that he tells his grandma that I'm the problem, and that I get on his nerves.
Oh man.
And like me, that was like extremely hurtful to me. Like extremely hurtful. Like I couldn't, like it was one of those things where I wasn't even like really mad. I was just like really just upset. And it took me like a few weeks just to get over that. But then now it's just, I look back on it and I laugh about it because it's, come on. Like, I was saying the same thing about my parents.
Right.
When they trying to force me to do something I didn't want to do. And that's just about like having that structure and maintaining the structure, because they're going to appreciate that stuff.
For sure.
Way more when they're older. You just being there for them all the time.
Yeah.
Coming home every single day and seeing them. Talking to them, buying them stuff. You know what I mean? It's cool, like the material stuff, but they're gonna appreciate the structure and you actually being home more than ever. Yeah. Better than just being that dad. And that was the main thing that like I always thought was like, I can't be a loser dad. Can't be a dad out here on the streets running around like never coming home.
There's definitely motivation once you have kids to be great. Yeah.
You can't be the dad who doesn't have a real career and your son is like not proud to explain what their parents do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or they don't speak about it. Like, I want to be that dad. Like my son, he's proud of me, and he wants to be just like me, and he looks up to me. He doesn't look up to any other man.
Yeah. And
he's also has respect for me, and yeah, there's a little bit of fear that goes on to it. Like, so at first I used to get. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. Like, I give out butt whoopings. I give out butt whoopings, especially little boys. Give out butt whoopings. But after a while, I felt like the butt whooping is not working, and just because my parents do it, and just because our parents are okay with it, that was one of the things that I stopped doing a year and a half ago. Was stop giving out butt whoopings. And I feel like Aiden's at an age where he's old enough to understand.
Yeah.
And we can have these conversations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like he does respect me enough where he knows that ain't gonna happen. Because when he was younger, it's, you know how kids, they think nothing gonna happen to them. They can keep going, ain't nothing.
Yeah.
And then when you knock them upside their head one time, it's and they think, you know, it's 2023.
Right.
They get knocked up the side of their head. They try to tell somebody, and they're like, and I got knocked upside my head too.
Like, well, you shouldn't have done that. Right.
Yeah, like these kids nowadays, like they think they can, because you see, this is where teachers don't want to be teachers anymore.
Right.
Like, I see all these videos, and these parents think that it's okay for your kid to be acting out of control and disrespecting another adult. Like these adults already know that they can't put their hands on your child.
Right.
And then you want to keep testing it that far. Like, no, I'm gonna smack the shit out your kid. Because your kid don't talk to you like that, and if you do, that's not right. You know what I mean? A lot of these kids, like, I see all the videos getting in teachers' faces, like you're gonna fight them.
Right.
Like, I'll choke you out if you ever get in my face like that. I don't care if you're somebody else's child.
Right.
And I tell my son the same thing. Don't you ever talk to your teacher like that.
Right.
If your teacher tells you to do something, you better follow what she says. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care about what Jimmy did. And whatever, and Jimmy didn't get in trouble. It's about you, because at the end of the day, you don't know what conversations that teacher had with their mom. You know what I mean? I know about the conversation that the teacher's having with us, and that's what matters to me.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what Jimmy did.
Yeah,
and that's the lessons that it's hard breaking through, especially because he's a little boy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's easier with little girls and stuff.
I hope
look
so.
at him one day.
I hope so. Like, I wonder. We about to find out.
But like you said, they're always going to appreciate that structure. And then also the kids that are being super disrespectful in school, they are taking time away from their class experience, and then they like go down with their grades, and it just plummets. So they don't realize that lack of respect is almost like a disability in a certain way, because you miss a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and you take time away from the other students too.
True.
If the teacher has to put in all this attention in you because you think you're so special, and that you can make a disruption in the class, you're taking away time from other kids. They just want to go to school, they want to learn, and they want to have that nice experience.
Nice. Yeah. That's
so,
what's up.
And that was the one thing I had explained with Aiden with sports, because So he's starting. So I had him in football when we were out in Mesa for a while, but now he's starting baseball because that's his thing now. You know, his thing. No, we'll let him try it out because he's still young. He's still learning everything. It's nothing.
That's a good age for baseball.
Yeah, just learning. His first year, oh my gosh, like it was just running around the field, not listening to the coach, not lining up. Once the football gets thrown, you feel like you can either go run out and go get the football and start throwing it around. And I'm just boiling. I'm just there, just boiling. Like, run the ball back to the coach and line up. Like, you know what I mean? The coaches, they're already in a little position. You know what I mean? They're volunteers too, so they're parents too. They're kids, so they're in a position where they're like, man, like, I don't really want to talk to your child like that.
Right.
And discussions do get brought up, you know what I mean, with every parent. It's like, no, hey, no. You need to talk to my child crazy. Yeah. You need to tell him to line up.
Keep him in line.
Yeah. We have
Sure, we appreciate we really appreciate those coaches, the ones that are like super strict and talking to every kid that way, though.
Because you're like, that's why I got him here. He needs to learn how to act, and if he's going to be good at the sport, he need to pay attention and follow the rules. Like, that's the basic stuff. Yeah, those are all good lessons. I think that people overlook that, especially what you said about in school. The big part of not being disruptive is because there's other people here trying to learn, right? If you want to go act a fool, you can stay home, but you're not sending you to school to go make everybody's day more difficult. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Especially the teachers nowadays, because
yeah, we need them.
And I honestly feel like they should have a good salary. They should have a good experience teaching. And it's just like I mentioned this to my wife, man, they just need to take it back to the old days. We able to whoop them kids, man.
Honestly, hey, I'm glad you said it. Sometimes I'll be afraid to say stuff like that, but I mean, really, because like you said, you see kids do ridiculous stuff that we wouldn't think of doing because we had a little bit of fear in us. And it's like when you don't understand those concepts and that more, I guess, verbal communication, like you're saying, because now you're like, okay, my kid can have these conversations, right? He doesn't need the butt wounds. But it's like when you're learning about the world and stuff and there's no consequence for your bad behavior, then that just brings a whole lot of problems. And now we have like a whole generation of kids that don't think there's consequences. For anything.
Little whiny brats.
Yeah. And they have the internet, so they're either going to pull out their phone, I don't know, videotape or whatever, right? Or they're going to tweet about it, or it's just always some other issue going on in their head than like being present and addressing like this interaction they're having. So that's something that we're all going to have to battle, whether you have kids or not, because like Russ interacts with kids all the time, so he sees it from that level. Like he is one of the teachers that has to deal with these kids that have the inappropriate behaviors and the outbursts and the aggression, and he deals with those parents that don't do anything to keep the kids in line too.
Yeah, for
Expect
sure.
you just to take it, huh?
Yeah.
And just like you were saying about the possible statistic with prison, the main thing I see is that no dad support, right? Like I have meetings with a whole bunch of parents. It's so rare that dads come into the meeting or that I even ever talk to them on the phone.
Yeah.
You know, so it works in the same way.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that.
What do you mean?
I haven't been to any of my kids.
But
so.
you're in their life though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's just no dad.
George's
I don't
like,
ever go up to school. I go to school for concerts and stuff, but parent teacher and daycare and all.
Yeah.
You barely see me there.
Facts.
I wouldn't really want to.
But they know that they can call you. There's a line.
Yeah.
They have your number. Like they know that they can contact you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the kids with, like behavioral issues. Like there's no male figure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes they're terrorizing their mom at home. The mom is afraid for them to get upset because they do physical stuff and they're like running the household at 13 just because they're bigger.
No, really, running
that's
the
the
household
thing, too.
even at a younger age, it's not even about being bigger.
Right.
Like you will have kids who are 5 years old, 6 years old, and they're able to run their single mom. They're able to run that whole household.
Do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Do
Talk
with attitude, do with anything, and it's okay. It's you know what I mean, and I know exactly what you mean, and they think when their kid acts up in school, they're so quick to defend their child instead of asking the right questions.
Yeah.
It's because when Aiden acts up in school, I ask him the right questions, and I determine if he really handled the situation correctly and he's being treated unfair, or if he's really out of line. And either way, he's gonna get talked to about it. And a lot of times, he may be out of line, but there's a lot of times where I feel like you know what I mean? He didn't really do anything.
There's always two
wrong.
sides, right? And we know that from experience, you know?
True.
And then we have to teach our kids, like, hey, a lot of times when you're doing the right thing, you just got to look at the context, right? Because that person didn't see what led to you doing this. And you trying to explain yourself isn't going to put you in a good situation either, right?
Sometimes it's best to just, and it happens with other kids on the playground. Because kids are jerks to each other.
And that's what's important. I
Leave
think
them
of when
alone.
I got in trouble. It's on the playground when there's not the teacher right on you, and then you got to tell a story and all this. So yeah, if you just teach them like not having to tell the story is the best situation to be in.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. You put them in a good situation. And that's the thing. We compound upon our experiences from our parents to what we've experienced, and then what our kids experience. We go through things hopefully to take away some of that struggle, right? Hopefully, like I don't want you to have to go through the difficult things I went through. Life's going to be hard either way, right? You express your own difficulties, but hey, I had to endure X, Y, and Z. And so listen to what I learned from it so you can try to avoid that, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain it to kids because I can think of so many situations my dad tried to set me up for. And it's just at the time you think you know everything, and it doesn't sound like it's relevant because you're not really to that point yet, or you heard from somebody else, you think they already got the answer for you. But a good parent is always going to have their kid's best interests in mind. And then so I think that the big thing is just that the parent lets the kid understand that and does everything that they can to make sure that the kid knows you're on the same team. And sometimes I'm being hard on you because I love you and I don't want you to end up in these bad situations I might have been in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like your dad, like, it sounds like he definitely, like, developed himself into the right characteristics to be a father. Because I know a lot of parents in that older generation, it's just do because I said so.
Yeah, and sometimes it was that. Yeah, there's been those times too, right? And I mean, we would love to have everything explained to us when we want to, and then sometimes it's just not the appropriate time, right?
Yeah.
Like, you might not understand it, or right now it's just important for you to do it. Like,
yeah.
You can't sit around and talk about it. And there were times where I definitely had a hard head, and I was telling Russ, us being in high school together, there were times where we would be with similar crowds or doing similar things, and it would just be the difference of like one decision, like where you end up at the end of the night, or what you do before school, or all these little things that can really just make a big difference. And so whoever's listening to this in that high school years or even early adulthood, like you said, because I was doing stuff around early adulthood that probably could have taken a different path too. We just have to understand that every action has a reaction, and we have a lot of control, a lot of capability. And when it comes down to it and we get an outcome that we don't want, we can't sit there and act like we couldn't have done anything different.
Yeah. And George touched on it really well when he was talking about that feeling of like self-hate at a young age. Because sometimes even if we're great and we feel like we're the man and people see us like we're the man, you could still be feeling that inside. And all your actions are showing this hatred. And then you go on that route of like gaining the awareness of loving yourself. You don't care what kind of clothes you have on because you really feel the power from within.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we're trying to develop. But it's good to know that even if you look like you're winning, you could not feel that way.
Yeah.
And
that's the one thing too, like being somebody that's the difference, like when that self-hate goes away is really being somebody where you have resources to offer other people.
Yeah.
Where you're able to offer smiles on other people's faces, whether it's your kids or your friends or your family. I just feel really good that I'm in a position where a lot of my friends and even my wife, I'm able to get them a job where I'm working at.
Yeah.
And I consider that a resource where there's things that you may need and I can still offer that assistance and guidance. And that means the most to me. Even having financial stability and being able to offer those things to my kids.
Yep.
And that's where I start to uplift that self-hate, and I just, it feels so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it feels more good to give than to buy stuff for other people or to give other people stuff than it is like to buy something for yourself.
Exactly.
But you go buy yourself a new car and you get it for that day, you're all right.
Yeah,
get
you're
it
for a week or two.
You're like, that's cool. Like, it was that.
Then you're driving to work again.
Yeah. You go do it to somebody else, and you always feel like you had that impact on their life.
Yeah.
In a positive way, like you're not someone who impacted somebody's life negative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you know what I mean?
Because then it comes back tenfold whenever you're able to give that positive light to somebody, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden things feel a little bit easier, and it's because you're working with the world. It's not working against you.
Yeah.
You gotta go with the current a little bit.
I'm wondering, did you meet any people when you were in prison that you felt were like very smart and you knew that if they were just out here they'd easily be getting to it and anything that they wanted?
There's a lot of people like that, really.
Just super smart.
There's a lot of people, like, there's a lot of stuff that people come up with, like honestly, like, I got a lot of tattoos in prison. Like, my whole body's pretty much tatted, and there's some people in there that can put together a machine in there, like, off of that, and tat your whole body up. You know what I mean? It's like, you're pretty smart. You know how to work that machine and put it together, like, and that's mechanical engineering right there. At some point, and and being able to do that artwork, which is barely nothing. Like, yeah, like, dude, you get right to it. Get a lot of bread up in here, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that hustler mindset just has to be controlled.
Yeah. You're not going out trying to just rob a bank,
Yeah,
or get on the computer trying to scam as much as you can. Like, put that stuff somewhere else.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people, but then there's a lot of people in prison where you're like, dude, like, you belong in here, dog.
Yeah,
or
you're dangerous.
Like, you belong in here. Yeah. Like you can't get rid of the gang mentality. Can't get rid of like the criminal mentality that you have. And it's crazy, especially with our younger black community.
Yeah,
what I notice is that you have, if there's other races in there, like, they lock up those other races because they're into drugs. And I'm gonna be real, the white kids. See white kids who are younger in there. This dude's not a criminal. He's just into drugs. He can't get off of that, the hard drugs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Not marijuana, obviously, but like meth and coke and heroin. You know what I mean? The young community with the blacks and the Mexicans. Well, the Mexicans, they got a lot of drug use too. But with the Mexicans, it's like serious crime. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Stuff that like. If it was our age and I tell you that, oh yeah, I shot somebody and this and that, you'd be like, what the fuck? Or, you know what I mean? Or, oh yeah, I'm in for murder and I'm still waiting for it. You'd be like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? And you see their charges and what, because everybody shows paperwork in there. Just make sure you're not a snitch. But, and you start seeing the paperwork on some of these people, you're like, oh my God. And then you see some of the paperwork on some other people, you're like, oh my God. Like, dude, you fucking got these guys for $30,000. And it's all on paperwork and writing, and then you hit them again for $50,000. Like, yeah, there's smart people like that, but you know what they're doing.
Do you think people often get like caught on their first attempt to do something, or is it usually that it's someone who's like done it for a while and then they slipped up?
Short-term stuff, yeah, it was like probably their first time.
Yeah, because I just imagine it sucks to just have your first attempt at some crime, you just get caught like instantly.
Yeah, probably better that way. You don't have to do as much time.
Yeah.
You don't have all these things racked up, right?
True.
But then a lot of people, they get hit. Like I said, they probably pulled like $100,000 worth of scamming, and they're gonna get 10 years. You know what I mean? Or they did $100,000 worth of boosting, and they're gonna get like 10 years. So that's one of those things too. Like, it depends what type of crime you do for the first time. Like, you never, to be honest, you never really get caught the first time. The only time you're gonna keep doing something, you know what I mean, you do something light, like maybe you might rob somebody for a little weed. And then the next time you're gonna try to rob somebody for coke.
Right, it escalates.
More dangerous stuff. You know what I mean? More,
it escalates.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted to ask you, because a lot of the students I work with that will get into illegal activities think because they were successful once that they got it, they figured out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, dang, look, I figured out this route to stack this paper up, and then eventually it's just
you're just building a case on yourself.
Yeah, you always get caught. You always get caught eventually.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's how the universe goes. Like, you're out here doing dirt. You know what I mean? And that's what this one Chicano dude told me when I was in prison. He's like, you can be either two type of persons. You can't, two type of people. Someone who does the right thing and someone who doesn't. You can't have your foot bouncing on and off. You're always going to get caught. Like, you're always going to be, you know what I mean? You want to, even if you're, like, if you're going to do it, do the right thing all the way. If you want to do the right thing.
Right.
If you're going to do the wrong thing all the way and just be a criminal. But no matter what, you're always going to end up in here or dead. Like, and that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
You can't just think, you know what I mean? You're going to get caught up if you're like...
Yeah, some people try to balance things out.
You're
I did the right thing over here, but now I'm going to go rob somebody or something.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you got one label on your character. And it'll follow you, like you said, right?
Yeah.
But you got back into the real world pretty well from my perspective. What kind of resources did you utilize to get a job and everything rolling once you got out?
Pretty much use the resources that everyone has available. So be honest, like, so, like, I was in college trying to get a nursing degree. And then I figured I couldn't do that with my record.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to ArizonaAtWork.com. It was that easy. Got a scholarship to go into nursing practitioning. Or sorry, nursing assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a scholarship to do that. Just go on ArizonaAtWork.com. Halfway through that thing, they pulled me aside and it's like, oh, you have this felony and this and that, and they kicked me out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a scholarship and everything for that. So I went back through it again, and I found an apprenticeship program for doing electrical.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off at Arizona Builders Alliance, doing electrical, going to Mesa, going to EVIT actually at nighttime.
Nice.
Doing the trade program. And during that program, you have to work. So you have to have 4,000 hours of school, and you have to have $4,000 or hours of actual field work on the job trading. So that's pretty much the resources that I used. I mean, there's different ways, but at the time, I thought that that's all I could do is just be an electrician. Do electrical work. I put in the time, and the more I started talking to others out there in the field in that work field, I started to realize there's other jobs out here that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
There's other positions that are way more glorified too that you can do. And so I dropped out of ABA, and then I went back to Mesa Community College, and I pursued my career or my degree into doing project management. And during that time, so I had a teacher, and she's actually the director of construction management. Her name's Chevelle. I can't remember her last name, whatever, but but she's one of my teachers. But she also, so she has a very vast, very big profile with construction management. Like, she's been all over and has like a lot of connects. And she was actually happened to be one of my teachers. Like, so she's a really cool lady and like very like supportful. Like, she's not just a teacher or a director. Like, she's someone that like puts her neck out for a lot of students. She redid my resume for me, put connects out there for me. It haven't really been a connect that she offered me, but I just, with that resume that she helped me build, and the key points that I need on my resume that stand out, because I have certificates in building inspections and international building code and residential codes and a whole bunch of other. Throughout me getting my degree, I'm qualified for a lot of things, and I was able to put that on there and show that out, and just ever since then, like, you know what I mean, it took me a while. A lot of people denying my resume on LinkedIn and all that, but eventually, like, there's been a few companies that hired me on, for big money. I mean, the last one that hired me on, I ain't gonna lie, I stepped out of that. I just didn't like the work environment. I stepped completely out of it. It didn't show back up, and I found somewhere else to work. But
it's a blessing to be in the position to do that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just really like connecting and just talking to people, getting advice from other people, being open to learn. That's the most like key point, is being open to learn. Yeah. A lot of people think they know it all and think they've seen it all. But no matter how old you are and what you've done, like, there's always more that you can learn. Even to this day, I learn a lot of things.
Yeah, we talk about how important coaches and mentors are a lot. And we obviously both had similar coaching experiences and I guess probably mentorship at certain points when we were growing up. And just the older I got, the more I recognize how important it was. I'm sure even in prison you probably had somebody that was like a mentor to you. And
did you have someone?
Oh yeah, plenty of guys that are mentors. Yeah. It's crazy. The more serious the crime was, the more of a mentor that person was, and the more serious that person cared about your life. So especially the blacks in there, like, in other races, it's all gun ho in there. They had you. They call them torpedoes. They find that younger guy or whatever, and they seen you go do their little deeds. It's called torpedo. Stuff. Yeah, or what do you call it? A crash dummy. You crash out for them, and you're gonna get more time and all that stuff. But like the blacks in there, so when I have my security upped, and like there's guys in there that are murderers, been doing 20 years, and that's the only way they're able to step down. They already did 20 years, and they still got more time to do, but their classification, their security, step down because of good behavior, and those guys are the most involved with the younger guys that come in, and the main thing that they teach is like, dude, you need to sit your ass down, pay attention to what's going on, follow the rules, and really take something out of this, because I have life. And maybe parole, you know what I mean? You can get out in 2 years, 5 years, and you do not want to come back here and really be where I'm at, because I can't go nowhere. I don't have a future. You at least have a future, and you had plenty of mentors in there, and these guys are some serious guys, you know what I mean? And like just like the younger guys in there that come, they don't really, they're hard headed. Not a lot of guys who are young. They hear the rap music and be a young boy and all that crap, and all they think is doing this with their guns and all this, and you know what I mean? And these guys are famous. They ain't really living like that.
Right.
Some of them make little stupid decisions, but a lot of them, they're not really living like that every single day. They got big lawyers and big money, and you got little money. Like you just getting sent off.
And government appointed lawyer.
You just getting sent off.
Then that's a good point to make, just because there's things that are being fed to us all the time, and it looks nice, right? And they don't really highlight, the ones that are living that life. Their friends are getting killed, and they're living these stressful situations and all that. And for someone to have all that money and still glorify that lifestyle is just silly. And then, I listen to some of the music, and always have, always will, but it's different with our youth taking it in, right? Because they don't understand that it's a show. They think that those people are really promoting this, and that's the thing too. They're not really promoting the lifestyle; they're just rapping about it because that's what's popular and that's what makes them the music, right? And it can just so easily be twisted into something else, because there's a handful of dudes out here that really are living the life that they're rapping about, right? But for the most part, with technology, nobody's able to just make a song about crime and actually be doing crime.
Exactly. You sing it all before they get wrapped up for
it. Right.
Yeah, and kids are like very impressionable, so they hear like their favorite rappers speaking about negative things like that, and they think it's cool, and they think that that's what makes me popular. Going back to the want to be a part of something, you know what I mean? You don't want to be a square out here on the streets.
Right.
It ain't cool working a 9 to 5. And being respected in that type of way. Now it's cool to have your dreads and all, you know what I mean, right. and got chains on and do what you want to do and got a strap on you. That's what's cool right now. Like you see, like the rap industry is the biggest industry right now. And ain't nobody listen to punk rock no more.
Right.
Well, now there's like the punk rap. Right? They just fuse them together.
And they still rapping about guns, like Lil Uzi Vert.
And wearing dresses.
he emo, but he always talking about he popping the pill. He got a gun on him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the cool stuff now, because now you got the white kids involved in it now. Come on, there's a bunch of little white kids. You know what I mean? They all about having a strap with an extendo clip on it, and they're emo and got their fingernails painted and like.
It's interesting the direction it's going, but that's why we have things like this to kind of neutralize the internet and put some positive vibrations out, because there's way more to life than that lifestyle.
And I guarantee, George, like what you've been sharing today is positively affect our podcast, people listening. Like this is such a great perspective that you were able to build through these years that you have now. Like it's really dope to hear. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
because like I said, I got family that's struggling with these same issues, and so I hope that they'll take the time to listen to this and see that when things like that happen, it's not something to be proud of, but you're accountable for it, and you still have more opportunity. And to just let yourself continue to be in that cycle, you're just slowly ruining more and more opportunities, closing more and more doors, right? But it's never too late to turn things around. It's just going to be a process. You got to work for it, right?
Yeah.
And
it starts with now.
It starts right now.
And you can be 40 years, like, if it doesn't start now, like, you keep giving yourself those excuses, you're going to realize you're 40 years old and you're still a loser. You're 40, yeah, for, and I see it all the time, like, especially with my job, like, there's a lot of guys in electrical who's been in prison, and they're still 40 years old guys, and they're still losers. They're still in and out through jobs, you know what I mean? Still making the same excuses. Still blaming other people for why. And I call them why guys, because so why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Why can I have this? Or you know what I mean? Because you don't ever put in that work now. You're just always making excuses.
Yeah. And there's always plenty of excuses to be made. But at the end of the day, we got God with us, and that is the ultimate capability, so there's really no excuse to be talked about.
No.
Yeah, there it is.
Nice. Well, it is almost Halloween, and this one been spooky because it's meant so much to me, man. I appreciate you, for real.
Yeah,
this is an important one here, and we'd love to have you on again in the future, get a little update from you. I did not say, if anybody's interested in reaching out to us, RMB pod at gmail.com is our email.
RNBPOD.
Yes. Please reach out to us. Let us know what you think. If you want to be on the show, cool. Let us know. Holla. And big shout out to Elevate Personal Training, LLC, Premier Coaching Services in the Southwest, and Rhythm and Balance. My mom pointed out I said Rhythm and Blessings on the last pod.
Yeah.
Shame. Rhythm and Balance producing this wonderful show that we have here. Episode 42. Shout out to Jackie Robinson. And on that note, I just want to say again, thank you so much, George.
Man.
You know, you got a lot to be proud of. I just want people to know that the journey you've been on has been quite unique, and it's been difficult, but where you are, you should hold your head high, because you could be in a much different spot. And I know you know that, but I just want you to know that we coming at you with love and the utmost respect on R&B Podcast, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And on that note,
Yep.
like last week, we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.